This video is about getting good at tree work fast, but not too fast, because if you rush it, you'll have more holes in your game than Swiss cheese. I put together the Arborist Pyramid of Progress as a simple way of visualising career progression in tree work. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it works. It's based on my own experience working with trees and running a company, but most importantly, it's seeing what actually works with my own employees and the people that I train. In this video, we're going to break down each stage of the pyramid and the secret sauce for reaching the top without cutting any corners. Right, let's just get into it. Most arborists want to get better, but the problem is people try and progress before they've actually built a solid foundation. This is what the pyramid is all about, building a foundation and working up from there. Often what you find is companies are absolutely desperate to process people through the tickets, through the qualifications, because there's a skills shortage. If you progress to being a climber too quickly, you're just not going to have that knowledge to be an effective groundsman. You actually need to really understand the groundwork well to be an effective climber, because you know what works well and you know what doesn't, and you'll be able to then adapt your approach in the tree to bring things down in an efficient way that's going to help the groundsman. But it's not just about that. You're not going to know much about the biology of trees and how they actually react to the work. You have to actually spend years in the game to see some jobs that you've done that you then go back to a couple of years later and then actually see how the tree responded to it. The point I'm trying to make here is skip the foundations and your tree work knowledge will be full of holes. It's about combining experience, skill and knowledge over time. But there is a way to reach the top faster without cutting corners. So let's break it down. Okay, so this is where everybody starts, on the ground. And this is where you're going to learn how to rig properly from the ground, tidy up properly, which is one of the most fundamental aspects of being an arborist, because a lot of the time the customer actually doesn't know how good your tree work is, but they can tell how tidy you leave it. I think if that attention to detail, if you can have that on the ground, you will transfer that into every single part of the job later in your career. A great arborist starts here learning efficiency, teamwork and how to read a job site. Your job as a groundsman is to keep the job moving, but you really need to get a grasp of this role before moving up. So the next one up is a climber. A climber who doesn't understand efficient groundwork is a liability, not an asset. They need to understand groundwork to adapt their approach in the tree. It's your job as a climber to do the aerial work in the trees. So you're the one going up there, whether it's in a mute or on the roads, whatever. One thing I need to emphasise with this whole pyramid thing is that you don't need to be a top tier climber. Climbing isn't for everyone, and I think a lot of people get scared off the industry because they think if you want to make any good money you need to be a top climber. It's not true. In my opinion, a groundsman who's also a great team leader is just as valuable to me as a climber is. At the very minimum, you need to have an understanding of climbing, and you should also really be able to perform aerial rescue. Okay, so next up is a team leader, and the reason why I put this after being a climber is because strong leaders don't need to be expert climbers, but they must spot inefficiencies, enforce compliance and push back when the climbers say it can't be done when it can. The one who is effectively steering the ship of the job is the team leader. So they really, in my opinion, should have their boots on the ground. It always used to be that the lead climber is the one in charge and that's just how it is, but it can become a bit toxic because what you find is they can't communicate properly to people because they're in the top of a tree. You've got to start then thinking of what your next career moves are. The next section on the pyramid here, the specialist. The specialist can be a variety of different things. You could be the guy or the girl that's known as the one that fixes all the machines. You could be the one that is an expert team leader and has the respect of all people, including the lead climbers. You could be really niche down on getting good at climbing and making that your craft. So this is kind of going up another level where you've got experience of all those other 3 tiers below, but you're specialising in one area. And I would say that what you should try and do is pick something that actually you like, because again Don't force yourself to be a lead climber if you don't enjoy it, because it's just not going to work. So what you need to think about in this stage is where you see yourself going in the business and what you want to specialise in. Okay, so the final stage is actually beyond arborist. I don't mean that you're not an arborist anymore. I mean that you might want to be something else as well as an arborist. Say for example, if you're moving to consulting, managerial, instructing or entrepreneurial roles, you will have a significant advantage with your practical experience from other people who have not gone through that process of the pyramid. Now, this is a great time to set up your own business because you've got all that other experience as a specialist, team leader, climber and groundie under your belt already. You should really have an all-rounder mentality and skill set. You should be able to drop into pretty much any role within the business, because sometimes if a climber lets you down, for example, you need to be able to fill those boots. What I would try and avoid is setting up a business before you've got that experience, because you're going to make so many mistakes. You may as well make it for somebody else rather than yourself. So it's not just about how quickly you can get certified, because anyone could pay for a 6 weeks course and get all of their chainsaw tickets, all their climbing tickets and everything else. It's about how well you can combine experience, skills and knowledge. That's actually when you get progression. So the way that you actually do it faster, the secret sauce is knowledge. If you want to get to the top of that pyramid faster, you've got to educate yourself on tree work. And there's a variety of ways you can do it. There's books. In fact, I'll grab one. So here's two examples of some books that you can use to increase your knowledge. Jeff Jepson's Groundie. So if you're a groundie, get this book 100%. And then the fundamentals of general tree work. Now, just to bear in mind, especially in this book, a lot of the information is out of date now. But the thing about tree work is many of the old school techniques still apply to today. So if you can combine that with some of the new techniques, bonus. This Groundie book here, I've seen this firsthand, how this can make the penny drop in some people. So if you've got employees or you're struggling with your role as a groundie, get this book. I can't recommend it enough. This kind of thing, you can read it, you can watch a video like this, and then you can actually put it into practice at work the next day. And the more you do that, the more training courses that you go on, and the more you actually teach yourself, I can tell you now, you're going to be faster and faster and faster to the top of that pyramid. I managed to get to the kind of where I am now. I've got a company and I'm now an instructor and assessor, a Lola inspector, and I believe part of the reason because of that is because of the time that I've spent outside of work looking into this stuff here. Anyway, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. If you've got some advice for someone below you in the pyramid, or if you want to ask some questions about how to get to the next stage of the pyramid, then just let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.